Hello, I'm Dr. Pierre Simon, and it's wonderful being back with you. We've been starting in this series, New Beginnings. I hope you've enjoyed the first couple of videos. It's always fascinating thinking about new starts. You know, it's change, and change is good sometimes. Sometimes it's not. Some people love change. I like to get up and go in a different direction every day, change my route to work. It's a bit stimulating, I think, and it's like a new beginning in the day. Finding purpose in new beginnings is our subject. I don't know about you, but when you start something new, there's a little excitement, and there's a little apprehension, and so we have to face that, and we don't want to fear it. So last time we spoke about the fear part of new beginnings. Now it's finding that purpose. I want purpose. I want to have a reason to get up in the morning, a reason to do what I do, a reason to look forward to the next day. And I'm sure all of you want that as well. Unfortunately, we can get into a hole when things are just kind of complacent and they just keep going on, and we're not feeling renewed. And another word is transformed. And part of seeking purpose is developing that transformation in us to make a change for the better. You know, transforming is something where you're not making it for the worse, you're making change for the better. The concept of purpose in life revolves around having a sense of direction, meaning, and motivation that guides an individual's actions and decisions. Purpose is often linked to higher well-being, happiness, even mental health. Viktor Frankl, back during the war, he was an Austrian psychiatrist and survivor of the Holocaust. He proposed back then that the essence of purpose is anchored in three fundamental elements. Now, I'm sure there are many elements involved, but he came up with these three early on to get people started really in thinking more about that. And the first one was engaging in meaningful activities. Well, if I engage in a meaningful activity, there's purpose. It gives me purpose to want to do it again, doesn't it? When I was a teenager, I would go surfing. And that was, to me, a meaningful activity at the time. May not have been a meaningful activity to my parents or someone else, but it was to me. It gave me purpose to get up in the morning, to look forward to doing it, or the weekend coming, to being able to do that. It was meaningful. And the second was nurturing relationships with loved ones. A fundamental element. We need each other. We need that bond. And even the loner will tell me they need at least one person to communicate with. And they might be grumpy and grouchy about it, but you know, they're looking for it. And sometimes it's only a few words that they may speak to somebody, but they needed that. It gave them something that they didn't have. It was a nurture, even though they might be getting their nurturing from the birds and the bees, but we all need that because God created us that way. That nurture is very important. And the third is possessing aspirations or goals to anticipate, according to Viktor Frankl. Aspirations and goals to anticipate. I have to set a goal. I can want to do something today, but you know, if I don't have a short-term goal, an intermediate goal, and a long-term goal, today isn't going to be all that rewarding, because what am I going to do tomorrow? I still have to have those short-term, intermediate, and long-term goals in causing me to go in a particular direction, so I stay in that direction. We can do these other things, but if we don't have those goals, we get sidetracked. And suddenly we're stuck when we get sidetracked. To not get sidetracked, you've got to set up those goals. And anyone can do that. You can do that at any time. But significant life changes come into the picture. And significant life changes can prompt a reevaluation of those goals, those values, those beliefs or objectives, leading to a deeper understanding of one's purpose. Now, I make myself talk about my grief, even though it may make my voice crackle or whatever, but I make myself talk about it because it's helpful for me, but it's also helpful for others. And so 2 years ago, as I've mentioned before, the passing of my wife, going on to heaven to be with the Lord after a 50-year marriage, I had a significant life change. What was I going to do? How was I going to go on from there? It prompted me to reevaluate some of my life or some of the things I was doing at the time. And I had to say to myself, well, what am I going to do now? And of course, I'm continuing in my Christian counseling and continuing in producing the videos. But I thought, I need to fill that emptiness. I need something more. There needed to be a new beginning. And so what I sort of drifted into was writing. And so I spent more time writing, and I found that was filling a lot of the empty time, occupying my mind. And in doing that, it gave me a new beginning. It gave me new goals. It set me in a direction of doing more instead of less in my time frame. But still, it was something that needed to occur because there was a significant life change. Now, you might not have a significant life change as grave as that one, but it might be you lost your job, or you're changing schools, or you've decided you're not that interested in the field that you're in, and it's just hard to feel motivated and so on, and so you need to think about something else. Well, that's a significant life change that's prompting you to say, I got to do something about this. These reevaluations have the potential to provide individuals with a more profound comprehension of their purpose through a lens that's qualified, biblical, Christian, insightful, motivating, and persuading. Fresh starts offer the chance to embark on a journey of personal advancement and maturation, crucial in uncovering one's true purpose. I say true purpose because you may have had a purpose for 10, 20, 30 years, but suddenly you realize there's more inside of you that you haven't tapped into yet. And now you've tapped into it as you consider a new beginning, or you consider making adjustments, changes, transformation. And when that occurs, now more of you is coming out, more of you is being utilized. Suddenly you realize, oh, I didn't know I had that in me. And I remember my mother, she was very talented, but she didn't know it until they were semi-retired. They weren't that old when they semi-retired, but she suddenly learned that she was an artist. And she didn't really know that before. And she started doing these wonderful things. And then she learned that she could play the organ. And she never knew that. And suddenly she's playing the organ and learning how to play the organ. And she played very well. But all that came later on, something that she never tapped into earlier in life, because there was transition occurring at the time. and it made her think about doing something different, going into something perhaps she was thinking about before, but never took the step necessary. Biblical teachings and Christian principles impart in this perspective. Still, it also imparts deep insights, motivational concepts, persuasive elements, and references to inspire and guide individuals toward truth and fulfillment. Confronting fresh obstacles and adjusting to unfamiliar surroundings amplifies grit. Remember the movie True Grit? When you're confronting something difficult, all right, I gotta face it. It builds character, doesn't it? And that character tightly linked to a powerful feeling of determination. With that, sometimes there's education that's required, formal or informal schooling. So that gives you purpose as well. But in the purpose, it's developing a greater purpose as a result of that. Christian counseling for purpose discovery is also very helpful. In counseling environments, guiding individuals to investigate and establish their life's calling can be potent for achieving mental and emotional well-being as well as spiritual well-being. Counseling rooted in biblical principles allows for qualified, insightful, and motivating guidance, incorporating references to Christian teachings. So we have a lot of stories in the Bible, don't we? If you've never read the Bible, there's a lot of stories, a lot of things to learn, and you can read and reread, and you're always getting these layers. Because you've changed since the last time you read it, and you're drawing more out of it. So incorporating references to Christian teachings offers an inspiring and persuasive avenue for seeking truth and finding inspiration in one's purpose. Crafting personal goals harmonious with one's purpose can boost motivation and create a deep sense of fulfillment. Looking back at my mom, she had this deep sense of fulfillment when she realized, and she was very good at the things that she did. But here in this new talent, this new part of her life back then, it was a deep fulfillment that she felt. It was more personal, you might say, than the work that she did. Christian counseling for purpose discovery draws from biblical and Christian wisdom, offering insightful and persuasive references to inspire and lead individuals toward truth and inspiration. Discovering or redefining one's life purpose in face of new beginnings is dynamic and transformative. It involves introspection. Introspection is looking inside and kind of searching out inside. Sometimes I'm with a client and we're dealing with something that's from the past, perhaps, and sometimes I'll have them picture a hotel at night, and they're looking at the hotel with the lights on some of the rooms, and I tell them those rooms represent compartments. Those rooms are of memory, and in those rooms of memory are your memories, and the dark ones you don't know about, or you're not aware of, or perhaps there are things in there that haven't been lit up yet, that you're not aware of yet. And imagine yourself walking into that hotel with Jesus. He's the one who knows which room you need to go to. And as you're walking into that hotel with Jesus, he takes you to the room that you're supposed to go to, knocking on that door. And it's up to you to open the door. And if you open the door, then he'll lead you into that room, and wherever God is, there's light, because God is light. And he'll light up that room, and you're going to see things that perhaps you've seen before but never understood, and so on. And it's amazing how the Lord will take someone right to where they need to be, to that very room. And some of those rooms are new awakenings, new things that they never tapped into before. And other rooms may have darker things in them, but now that light comes and exposes the darkness, and all of a sudden they're not afraid of it anymore. They're given insight into it at that moment, and that insight is, and now it's no longer scary. It's no longer traumatic. So discovering or redefining one's life purpose in the face of new beginnings is dynamic and transformative. It involves that introspection, as I mentioned earlier, what we're looking at on the inside. So it's okay, picture something, whatever it might be, and walk with the Lord in that direction that you believe He's sending you. Don't go where somebody else is sending you. Go where you think God is sending you. You'll adapt and you'll grow and significantly contribute to your well-being and fulfillment as a result of that. Born without limbs, Nick Vujicic struggled with his disability and purpose in life. However, he found hope and purpose through his Christian faith. In fact, Nick is going to be in our area, I believe in the next few weeks, at a convention Christian conference that's going on, and he'll be one of the speakers. A well-known figure due to her family's efforts to help Jews escape the Nazi Holocaust during World War II, Corrie ten Boom's faith was tested and refined through immense trials, including her time in the concentration camp. Her story, detailed in her book, The Hiding Place, highlights how faith in God can provide a purpose and a strength, and even in the darkest of times, help lead into a new beginning. Once a slave trader, John Newton underwent a dramatic spiritual transformation. His newfound faith led him to become an influential Christian minister and abolitionist. He's best known for composing the hymn Amazing Grace. How often do you hear that hymn? It's all the time. It's always inspiring. And he's the one that composed that, reflecting his journey from despair to finding purpose and redemption through life. He had a new beginning. And in that new beginning, wonderful things came out of it. Johnny Erikson Tada's life took a dramatic turn after a devastating diving accident in 1967, resulting in quadriplegia. Initially facing despair and physical limitations, her Christian faith became central to her emotional and spiritual recovery. I remember watching the movie about her, and it was just amazing. And it didn't happen right away. We start new beginnings. Sometimes it's like in a rut in the road. It's not happening the way you want it. You think it's going to happen, or the way you want it to happen. But all of a sudden, you get out of the rut, and now you're moving. Now things are happening. Well, she was in that rut for a number of months before that transformation occurred for her. Johnny emerged as a prominent Christian figure, author, speaker, and founder of Johnny and Friends, an organization aimed at sharing the love and teachings of Jesus Christ with individuals impacted by disabilities globally. So it's an international ministry that she has. And if I'm not mistaken, because I remember reading this years ago, and I believe it's still the case, she's the longest living quadriplegic in the world. Faith, I believe that's her faith did that. That's what the Lord will do for us. Now, it doesn't mean He's going to keep all of us alive and all that, but there was something there that gave her a new beginning, and it can give all of us new beginnings as well. These examples illustrate how faith and trust in God can be transformative, guiding individuals through new beginnings and helping them find a deeper purpose. Do you feel shallow? Do you feel like, I could do more? Is this all there is? Well, apparently it's not all there is. You're just kind of stuck somewhere Get unstuck. Find that new beginning. Find that new purpose in helping you to go forward. Their stories are sources of inspiration and offer insights into the role of spiritual beliefs and personal development and overcoming life's challenges in a similar way as the Bible stories. When we read the stories in the Old Testament and New Testament, we're reading these stories of characters, both good and bad individuals, and the transformation, the changes that were made in their lives, and how we are learning through those examples of the past. In life's journey, it's crucial to reflect upon our existence and identity areas where we can seek purpose through those new beginnings. As Christians, we find immense guidance and inspiration within the sacred pages of the Bible. As I was saying, we get that inspiration as we're reading. It's like you open it up and you start reading. It's almost as if not hearing God speaking to you through those words. You may not understand it had you not done that for yourself, had you not made that surrender of your will, that full-hearted belief in Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. You know what? You don't have to do that, because if God sees you're trying, He reaches out. He helps you to see what you couldn't see before, and that helps direct you into making those kinds of choices or those kinds of changes. Now, you don't have to be a Christian to make changes, to have new beginnings, but it certainly helps. It reminds us that our purpose doesn't lie in stagnant complacency, but in embracing opportunities for growth and renewal. Each day is an opportunity for a new beginning and a path that aligns with our innermost desires and God's calling. Have you ever thought, what does God have for me? What's His plan for me? If you haven't found that plan yet, it's still out there. Ask Him to show you what it is. He'll reveal it if you're looking for it, if you're asking Him for it, if you're persistent in it, He will reveal it. And it's sometimes, I guess we could say it's certainly uplifting, but it's invigorating suddenly when the light clicks on and you realize, oh, here's something I really like. Here's something I really enjoy. Here's something that is really helping me get up in the morning and go do. And here's something that I'm feeling value instead of feeling devalued. And a lot of us grow up feeling devalued because of circumstances. Gain that value by seeking those new beginnings. By seeking God's will, we can discover our true purpose and make a meaningful impact in the world, using our unique talents and gifts to bring glory to His name. You have a gift, you have a talent. You may not think you do, but it's there. It just hasn't come out yet. It will come out, but you have to seek after it, and it'll start leaking, and you'll start to see it after a while. Let us not be afraid to embrace new beginnings and step into the boundless possibilities with faith as our compass and the Word of God as our guide. Well, next time we're going to talk about the power of renewal and perseverance in new beginnings. I'm sure we'll get something out of that as well. May your troubles be minor, blessings more, and happiness come through your door. God bless.